Welcome, everyone. It is 11 a.m. We're going to get started here with our session today for the next hour, Unlocking AI in Your Instruction. My name is Chris Justice. I'm a coordinator with the Digital Learning and Instructional Technology Department here in Clark County School District. I've been with the district for 16 years as a science teacher. I was a student council advisor. I used to teach a CTE video production class or two as well. And I got pretty good at teaching with technology, a big fan of it. And after the advent of AI, I got really excited about what it can do for us with our productivity. Everyone's afraid AI is going to replace teachers. Now that we're like a year, well, actually, what, 3 years into the era of AI, I don't think that's actually true because the teacher can use AI to help out make some of the content, maybe come up with some of the assessment ideas, help us brainstorm for a whole host of ideas, right? And how we can bring it to our classroom. But it's still the teacher that's going to make all of that stuff come alive. Also, like, we have relationships with our students as well, right? Those relationships are human, grounded, and there's nothing that we can do to actually replace any teacher. All right, don't you guys feel that way? I feel like nobody's going to learn anything from an AI, but we're going to use AI to help us do our job. And that's what I love about it. And so, yeah, I think today what we'll do is take a look to see how we can maybe use some of our AI next year, and go from there, right? Robert says, gives us a comment here. It says, I find it hilarious at the notion that some kind of technology is going to replace it. How did that COVID shutdown work out? Exactly, right. Yeah, like we took away the human element for a hot moment, and it did not go as exactly as we thought it potentially could, right? Liz says, I worry this is an existential threat to humanity. The water alone is a major issue, and there absolutely are some environmental concerns with this, right? And I don't have the answers to that. I sometimes I'll ask Gemini, the district's AI platform, some of these questions. Like, it's actually, it's maybe counterintuitive here to say how much water is being wasted by this very query that I'm doing right now, right? Like, but all in the interest of getting some more information. It's kind of interesting to have those conversations with AI. Just today, I asked it, how much did this cost Google, this question? And it was like, well, on average, a question like this costs anywhere between a tenth of a cent to 3/10 of a cent. And so when you start to multiply that by the millions, the billions of queries like that every single day, it starts to add up for Google. And you're right, there are some environmental issues too, right? So ask a question like that, but only do it once because we don't want to waste too much water or energy to get the answer. Yeah, it's there. These are hard. It's a hard time. It's an interesting time too. With that said, I'm hoping that you guys are going to use a little bit of cost Google a little bit of money to ask us some of those questions today here. And as we get into our agenda, we'll chat about the learning intentions and success criteria in a moment. It's not just about Google and Gemini. I wanted to show you a couple AI tools here that we have available to us within Canva, which is also a really great tool, actually. We'll take a look at that in a moment. What does this say? We'll use Gemini Canvas to make a slide deck. If you haven't done this yet, it's kind of new. I feel like that maybe the last month or so, there's this tool within Gemini called Canvas, not to be confused with Canvas LMS, which is another thing. But it used to just make like apps, used to make Google Docs. Now it makes slide decks. It's pretty cool. So I wanted to share with you guys that. And we'll also use Canvas to make an interactive app and show you how you can actually get that out to students. And then towards the end here, we'll take some more time and chat about Notebook LM, show you guys what that might look like. If we have time, this is the second time I've facilitated this session. In fact, I'm looking at this right here, and this should say, give me a minute. I gotta fix this. Yeah. There we go. Okay. This is the second time I've done this here today. And so if you have a little bit of time, if I got my timing wrong, I've got an extra tool that I'll share with you guys. Pretty straightforward, take like 5 minutes or so. So we'll see how this goes. Notice in red, it says, before we get started, choose a standard or topic you would like to use AI to help create a few resources you can use in your classroom, that slide deck, that interactive app, or maybe even the Notebook LM. So start thinking about that. If you can't think of anything, just use study skills. It's kind of like a broad term that I feel like you could use and create some resources that would be applicable for students right at the start of school in August. What, a month and a half away? Oh my gosh. All right, let's not think about that too much. All right, so what are we doing? We're learning how to leverage Gemini Canvas, Notebook LM, Canva, and maybe a custom gem to design engaging, interactive, instructional resources, and AI-driven student supports based on our classroom standards. We're going to use Canvas to generate and refine a functional slide deck and an app, and then we'll go through and chat a little bit about Notebook LM to see how and what it can do for us. All right, this is an interactive session here. I'm hoping that you guys have one tab open with the Meet, and then we can start to add some additional tabs as we use some of these tools here, right? And we switch back between about all of the different tabs, hopefully. All right, we'll see how this goes, folks. First things first, let's take a look at Canva. I'm a big fan of Canva here. I'll get to this link in a second. But while I have you, I just wanted to show you what to do. We'll need to log in through Clever. So you've got editing rights to this for sure, but I'd like you to first log into Clever, right? If you haven't done this yet, highly suggest you do because this is an app available to you and your students through Clever. And take a look what we're going to do. So when I give you guys this link in a second, I've got a question here. It says, what is one classroom standard or topic you find most challenging to make interactive? And how do you hope AI might help you transform it today? So that's our discussion question. Look on the left-hand side. You won't have these tools available to you unless you have logged in through Clever or logged in somehow using your nv.ccsd.net account. So if you're missing these tools here on the left-hand side where my mouse is currently pointing, it's because you're not logged in properly. Log in. All right, and what I'd like you to do is grab, in a moment, one of these sticky notes. Click there, you choose a cute color, and then move it somewhere in this space. All right, look where my mouse is going now, down here. I can actually kind of zoom out a little bit. So if there's not enough room, kind of, play around with the zoom feature. In a second, we're going to see there's like, what, 54 of us on here. And so there's going to be 54 different mouses moving around. Just be kind of aware about where you are. Move it around in a space where it's free. You can also resize this. Doesn't really matter the size. Take a look too. This also has your name attached to it. So make sure that when you're logged in properly, that you're typing within your sticky note. All right, you can do this activity, by the way, with your own students. And like I said, this is unlocking AI. I'll show you how we can unlock AI after you guys give me some responses here. I'll show you what we can do with it. All right, that's enough prologue, I guess. Let's get you guys the link. I'll put the link here into the chat. Go ahead and open up, please. Let's take about 3 minutes to respond to that prompt in the middle. It's always fun to watch. Kind of wish that they would like not just stack all of those sticky notes. All right, Jenny says, hey, I'm having a technical issue, but I'm able to listen well. All right. Very cool. Yeah, if you can't access this, we're all adults, and so you can choose to interact with today's session however you wish. Kind of the same thing with students too. Like you can't make students do anything either. That's what I started to do with my students. Like just treat them like adults, make your own decisions. All right, folks, how about another minute? Yeah, right. That's where I ended up, Lisa. It took me like 15 years to get to that point. I think with teaching, I've learned is that teaching is giving up control of what you think learning is. You know, took me a long time to figure that out. Like, I can't care more than you. I have to care as much as you plus one, you know. Otherwise, we'll pull our hair out. All right, you guys. So I wanted to kind of finalize here the stuff that we've typed in, and it looks like we've kind of more or less written some substantive answers. In 30 seconds, I'll just ask that we stop. Even if you didn't finish, that's okay. This is kind of a demonstration too, and I also wanted you to think about that standard or topic that we're going to build a couple things for. So just get you to start thinking about it. So another 20 seconds, we'll push pause. You can use this Canva whiteboard. If you can get a link out to your students via Google Classroom or Canvas, you can get this out to your kids, right? So imagine an interactive whiteboard right here. Maybe it's got some content on it. In addition to you guys using these sticky notes, you could have actually come over here. You have editing rights, clicked on elements, found like, look at that beautiful gem right there. You can add stuff, although maybe I shouldn't show you that because it's going to get now so much that anyway, but you kind of get the point. You can add, it's not just these sticky notes. You have all of the resources of Canva at your disposal, which is kind of cool. All right, so let's push pause on our typing. Let me show you what I'm going to do. In fact, watch this. I wonder if I was thinking about this, how I can actually make you guys stop. So I'm going to click share. This is how I got that link, by the way. So I click share, and I changed this from only I have access to anyone with the link can edit. So if I choose and make it go back, actually, no, let's see, anyone with the link can just view. I think that would be the right way to do it. There we go. So now you guys probably can no longer type, but you can just look at it, right? So now I just shut off your ability to type, which is fine. Again, I wanted to show you guys what I'm going to do with this now. All right. So let's take a look here. So what I'll do, go back to the Meet screen so that you can see my visual and my screen from my perspective. Here we go. What I'm going to do is select all, let me do it again. Select all of those responses and then take a look at what I got. This little magic pencil. Look where my mouse shows up. I've selected all of your responses. And now I have some options here. I can delete all of them, sure. I can lock them so that no one can move them anymore, group them together. All right, but like this is actually where I want to go, the magic write part. I'll click on magic write. This is where the AI comes in. I'll click create summary. And the AI will start to summarize all of the different ways that you guys have answered and responded to that question. Let's zoom in a little bit. Move my mouse over there. I love this. So it's kind of like, since we're all different, we all teach different subjects, it's gone through and kind of clumped similar things together. It's even mentioned you by name, which it didn't do last time. That's actually kind of neat. So Darcy's helping students write a school song. I was wondering where Suno came from. Regina mentioned Suno in the chat. I was wondering what that was a reference to. So it was from this. Dana says exploring AI for creating study buddies. Pretty neat stuff, right? Aaron's talking about ideas for engaging digital citizenship. Heather wants to use it for writing tasks for elementary students. We've got so much diversity of answers right here, right? Pre-algebra, I'm seeing opinion writing, my goodness, engaging material for melodic literacy. Ooh, that's a Googleable opportunity there. I don't know what that means. Let's see, creating differentiated maths. We got math teachers in here, my goodness, writing, ELA, creating some visuals for a classroom. You're thinking about August, right? Things that you might need right away. All right, Ms. Kelly says business opportunities with Roblox. I love this. So yeah, we'll see what AI like starts to create for us, right? We'll see. So here's the other thing too. Watch this. This is kind of neat. Imagine I've got, I don't know what it's going to do for this, but imagine I have content on this, right? And your answers, your opinions aren't really content, but you kind of still get the point. Watch what I can do. I can now select this if I wanted to. Ooh, there we go. Get rid of that. Go back to that magic pencil. And look at this one. This is kind of cool. Generate a quiz. This might be like a summary based off of what you guys typed, but let's just see what it does. Generate a quiz, which it just did here. And if I give you guys editing access again, now you can go back, if you're still on this, go back and answer this question. Is how can, looks like it went with a digital citizenship route here, but how can AI transform traditionally boring digital citizenship lessons? Oops, uh-oh, don't move it around. Watch what I can do. If people start moving things and your students start, watch what I'm gonna do. Now you can only view it again. All right, give me a minute. What I should have done, who's moving my stuff around? My God. I need my, there we go. Okay, slow down. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to lock it. There we go. All right, now I'm going to give you guys, and please don't unlock it. I'm going to give you some editing rights, and now I'd like you guys to go through, if you can, try to answer that question, click submit. I know, yeah, you guys are being like my 14-year-old freshman, whoever's doing that stuff. All right. But notice I can lock it down, so now you can't move it or you can't change the font or anything like that. And please don't unlock it. All right. I'm assuming that you all are answering this. Let's see what happens. Okay. Yeah. Kind of wild, right? You get the point, I suppose. So let's do this. I cannot remember. I'm going to click submit. I feel like I also now have, let me come back here. So let's click here. I changed editing rights. Let me unlock this. I wanted to, gosh, it's, click refresh. I wanted to see if I can try to get to the, there we go. So I had to unlock it. When I unlocked it, now take a look what I got. This is kind of confusing here. We meet with Canva once a month, and I'm going to talk to them a little bit about how awful that was for me to try to do. But anyway, take a look. I've now unlocked it. I clicked respond, and now I can look at how you guys actually responded. So if I wanted to turn this into like a formative assignment activity or something like that, I can click on, select that quiz question, click responses, and then it will actually show me how each of you responded to that question, which is kind of cool, right? Click view responses. I want, like, I'm going to also talk to Canva. I want this to be a bar graph. And, I want to see like, it's a survey. I want to see how all of you generally responded to it, but nothing's perfect, I suppose. You get the point. We used AI 2 times though with Canva. I used AI in Canva to help me summarize. something, all of your responses. And then I also used AI to very quickly create a formative assessment based off of whatever it is I selected on the screen. So imagine I had content on there. I could have selected that content and then created a more like, standards-based assessment pretty easily. All right, pretty cool stuff. Questions about that, folks? Thoughts about it? Yeah? All right. Jazzed about it. Into it. Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. All right. Sabrina's into it. Sure. Cynthia. All right. Miranda. Thanks, Samuel. Shannon. Cuts down feedback time. Yeah, you're getting feedback real fast too, right? Plus, it's a collaborative opportunity. The strategic plan, what is it called? The Destination District Strategic Plan or 5-year path talks about those, what is the word? Durable skills. I had to ask ChatGPT, like, what are durable skills? We're talking about creativity, communication, collaboration. When we use Canva whiteboards and put all students together, we have an opportunity to collaborate with one another. And we're working towards enacting that strategic plan that Miss Ebert recently presented all of us as district employees, right? Pretty cool stuff. So it's a way to increase students' use of durable skills. All right, look at me doing stuff that's pretty on point with the district's plan. All right, not bad. Okay, let's transition now into Gemini. I'll get you guys this link in a second. It's just, we're going to go to gemini.google.com. And we're going to just watch my visual first. All right, so let's open this up. Just watch my visual. We're in the meet. I'm going to show you, and then I'll cut you loose in a moment to try it out. If you've not been into Gemini before, make sure you authorize it. I've already done that. All right, so I've got this text field here, and let's take a look at this plus sign. This plus sign is how we can turn on one of the tools that I'd like us to use today. If you don't see Canvas listed as one of those tools, it might be underneath more tools, if that makes sense. It kind of depends on your screen resolution, whether or not it's hidden or not. So I clicked on, let me show you again. I'll go to Gemini. We'll click on that plus sign. We'll turn on Canvas. All right. I can also attach stuff from my drive if I wanted to. Maybe I had like a page of content. It's actually not a bad idea. I might do that next time I try it. If you guys have like a page of content that you'd like to create a slide deck off of, play around with adding something from your drive or uploading files. All right, but yeah, it's just, if you don't do that, that's fine too. What we'll do is think about that topic or standard. For me, I used to teach AP Environmental Science, and so my topic is going to be 8.5 eutrophication. This is a scientific concept that explains why large bodies of water can start to accrue algae and undergo algal blooms, turning bodies of water from blue to that bright neon green that we sometimes see in large ponds. So anyway, so that's going to be my topic that I'm going to do. And so I'm going to say my prompt is going to be create a slide deck on topic 8.5, be really specific, eutrophication from the apes curriculum. If you wanted to, you can reference tier 1 instructional materials. Gemini knows some of those things. So if you're really specific about Envisions math, right, or Amplify Science, the specific unit and module even, it will actually create stuff for you based off of those prompts, all right? For me, I've got my curriculum here, so that's going to be my prompt, nice and simple. And I've got to make sure that I've checked and selected Canvas as my tool. Otherwise, this won't work. So let's click submit, and I'll get you guys that link. I want you to try this out yourself, all right? We're going to spend about 3-4 minutes. In the chat, I just gave you guys the link to go to Gemini in case you haven't been there before. Select Canvas, click on that plus sign, select Canvas, and then prompt. Keyword here is slide deck. Create a slide deck on your topic or your standard or your procedures. And it'll take a minute.
How did you select Canvas again?
You click on that plus sign. So from that text field, click plus.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And if you don't see Canvas, it might be underneath more tools.
Thank you.
Sure. Create a pretty good slide deck actually on my topic. I'm curious what it did for you guys out there. If you've gotten to the point where your slide deck was created by AI, I want you to click Export to Slides. And this is what's really great about this, is that now we've got a little bit more control, right? We can reprompt and have that conversation with AI and ask it to change out things, or we can do it ourselves, right? It gave us the quick foundation, and now we can edit it within a slide, like slides. That's incredible, right? All right, thanks, Stephanie. All right. I'm going to open those slides up, that link in the lower left.
Chris, my export to slides is not lit up where I can actually do the export. Is there something I'm doing wrong for that, or?
I don't know. Is it finished?
It said it was finished. It gave me 13 pages, but maybe it's not. Maybe I'll give it a little more time then.
Have it a little refresh on the page and just see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, did it work?
Let's see. I'm gonna refresh, and yep, it worked. Thank you.
Okay, sure thing. All right, pretty cool. Any other problems out there? So Tracy had an issue. Quick little refresh helped it out. Anybody else having some problems, or did it work? Regina says, "Hey, it worked."
Yeah, it looks real nice. I'm all excited.
Yeah, that's not bad actually. I saw this like last week. I was like, "That's new." They really improved it actually. It wasn't doing this before. And what I love about it is that now you can actually open it up in slides, and you can go through, add, subtract, take it away. Like Oh, and that's the other thing. I'm looking at mine, and it's got some graphs in there. I'm like, where did that graph come from? So on the last slide, it seems to give us the sources of those images, which I really love too. That's a best practice right there, right? That's going to increase our accessibility for our course materials too. All right, Liz says, I may have to rethink my hatred of this water wasting. That's still a major issue for me. We live in a desert. I know, but it increased our productivity, certainly, for sure, right? First one worked, but when I tried to make it a longer presentation, let me know it was experiencing an issue. I don't know if that's because the free issue. I'll be honest with you. I was trying to do this in a training yesterday, and it would not let me even get to the point where it's pretending to create a slide deck. So create a new chat, try it again. But I've seen, Stephanie, I've seen those issues on my end too. And I waited 2 minutes.
It made me a really beautiful presentation for 30 days of journal entry questions with sentence stems. But then when I asked it to do 180, so I'd have it for every day, it could not download it. It was like I guess, too big. So I wasn't able to pull it out of there. It said it created it, but I couldn't open it. So then I asked it to do it into 6 30-day ones. And it got through 3, and then it like hit a timeout screen. So is that just because it's free and I don't get like the primary?
That's probably you're asking it to do too much. I'm thinking, you know, it's we're limited. Think about what I said earlier in the very beginning. I was like, each time we talk with this, it costs 1/10 of a cent. You know what I mean? So like putting together a slide deck is going to cost a lot more. Cost Google a lot more than just a 1/10 of a cent. It might cost a penny. Or more, right? And so, you know, it's like, okay, are we gonna seen before some of these online TikToks where people are like, count to 1 million. Well, that's going to cost a massive amount of energy and a massive amount of money for nothing, right? So if we're making 108 individual slides, that might be a little too much for what we're asking it to do. It made me 13 slides, and that's enough. Maybe we want to split up the work, right? Or create multiple slide decks using multiple chats, a new chat each time. That's what I would suggest. Right? I think that might be what's going on. Is just too much. It's too much input, or it's too much output. All right. Aaron says, yesterday Gemini notebook, we're really not generating slides. Yeah, it was being weird for me too. Too many people. There's millions of people using it as we speak right now. I don't know if that's the issue. It's who knows, right? What it could have been, but yeah, I was experiencing some problems, Aaron, yesterday too. So if it's not working, wait a day, create a new chat, and see if that worked, right? All right, folks. Yeah, there we go. So pretty cool stuff, I think, right? Let's figure out what we're doing next. All right. Yeah, okay, so now what we're going to do, let's try to make an interactive app. Just because it might give us something different, let's take a look at the Gemini, kind of foundational features. I'm on Gemini. Look at the Meet screen right now for the visual. I'll kind of take you on a tour here. So I've got this sidebar. I can click on that diamond in the upper left to open up the sidebar. There's where that slide deck showed up. If you want to see, oh my gosh, let's not talk about the energy that I wasted for this. Please don't judge me. Ridiculous. You probably can't hear it, but it's panting. That probably cost a couple pennies and some carbon dioxide and some water for literally nothing. I need to figure out a way to delete some of these, which I can't do. Anyway, yeah, notice that you can't delete chats, but I could rename this like differentiation ideas, and then no one would ever know. Anyway, I'll have to do that next session. Let's actually not build our app in the chat that we just finished. Let's create a new chat. By the way, it's going to take you on a tour, right? So if you don't have gems, you got to play around with gems. I don't know if we're going to get to it today in this session, but if you don't have gems present, it might be found underneath settings. So look where my mouse is here. So if you don't have gems on the left-hand side, we'll click on settings and you can access gems that way. All right. You can also get to Notebook LM very easily with that setting link there too. All right. So yeah, we'll get to play around with gems though, and they're pretty cool. I think they're going to be the secret to increasing interactivity with students. All right, let's click on new chat though, right? And pretend like we didn't see the dog-headed train. All right, let's click on, like we did last time, we're going to click on Canvas. So that plus sign, we'll click Canvas. And then now our prompt is going to be create an interactive app. And let's make it HTML. I want you to type in HTML in parentheses, or HTML file, we'll say. And I'll give you guys this prompt in a second in the chat. For topic, and then I'll put this here. You're going to fill in the blank. And for me, it was topic 8.5. Let's take a moment and create that app. Okay, have AI use the app in a moment. You guys should be trying this out on your own. Select Canvas. Some of us are going to be working at a school in which AI is turned on for students. And I feel like the real value for this will be to have students make their own apps. Why not, right? And then imagine like a gallery walk process where students can play and interact with other students' apps, content related apps. Gemini on my end is taking a moment to create my app. I'm hoping that you guys are also at the point where you're maybe having AI create your app. About a month ago, you couldn't really do anything with these apps. They weren't downloadable. They just kind of existed within your Gemini accounts, and you couldn't get it out to students unless you did some fancy embedding of HTML code. But Google fixed that. You can now download these. So you've probably seen these apps before. Yeah, it looks like, who did this? This is Astree. So Astree, let me show you how to get it out to people, okay? This HTML code that you put into the chat is you'd want to embed that within like a Google site. But there's actually a better way to do it. So if you're looking at my screen, please, my app is finished. So if you guys switch back to the Meet screen to see my visual, allow Gemini to keep working on your app. You know, I'd have to go through, vet this. It looks like it's actually got quite a bit of stuff on here. What Astree did was Astree grabbed the code and put it into the chat. Now, I could put this, embed this code within a Google site if I wanted to, and then get that site out to kids. But they've actually made it better. Notice this little download symbol right here, right? I'm going to download this. Let's see if this works. Let me come over here to my drive. So let's go to my drive. I'm going to upload the file. I'm just putting that file as an HTML file. Going to add that to my drive, and then I'm going to get that link out to you guys. You'll want to download it onto your own computer. Like if I just open this up now, it doesn't work, right? Instead, what we're going to do, take a look, is download it. So let me just share this properly. All right, so go ahead and click in that link there, folks, and then I want you to look in, so double click. I want you to look at, in the upper left corner, there's another download button. It's next to like the picture of the printer, if that makes sense, page 1 of 1. Look in that area. Click on that download. Now we've downloaded that file onto our computer, and now we can open it up. Can you let me and verify with me that it actually worked on your end? Stephanie says, yes, very cool. Okay. Not bad. Hey, if it didn't make you, yesterday it made me a wild, a crazy file type. I didn't know it was like a .jsx or something like. I had no idea what it was. I reprompted the AI and said, hey, this needs to be HTML. So just be aware, like, make sure it's an HTML file. Otherwise, I'm not sure it'll actually work the way that we just had it do. Pretty cool stuff, right?
Chris, can I ask you another question? Like I got
Of
a phone
course.
call, they interrupted me. Okay, so when I get ready to download this, you said hit download first, right? Download it. Don't share it because there's a share button as well.
Where are you in the process?
My finished, I got my finished product like what you have showing, but I'm
Okay.
trying to now send it over to my drive or whatnot.
Yeah, so you'll go to your drive, and what I did was I clicked the area. You can watch this. I mean, you can just take your file and you can drag it
Okay.
into your drive, or you can click on in the upper left-hand corner from drive, you can click on new, and then there's a little file upload area there too.
Okay.
So if you guys are Canvas based, you can upload this as a file to Canvas, and then students, they can't play it within Canvas, but they can download that file just like you download a PDF. Students can download that HTML file onto their computer and then open it that way too.
Okay.
So yeah, I just gave you one idea about using Drive, but anywhere where you can download a file. I was thinking too, like actually what I would love to do, I used to have a class website that doesn't exist anymore, but I would add this as an HTML file, and then it would be like, crjustus.com / that file name, and then I would just get the students out there. Then that HTML file would be hosted on my website, if that makes sense. Or you can have the kids download it like what we've been doing.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure thing, yeah. Any other questions?
Chris, I did the download, but it just I didn't have to go into Drive because it just put it in there. So
Okay. Are you on a Chromebook?
Yeah. Well,
That's
on an HP,
okay.
yeah. Okay.
That makes it even easier than if you're on a Chromebook. It's all cloud-based. So I'm on a Mac machine here. It downloads it onto my computer, and then I've got to upload. So I need to kind of change that. If you're on a Chromebook, it automatically puts it in your drive. That's awesome. All right, Shauna says, it's hilariously terrible. The prompt I gave was create an interactive app for practicing the letter names of the notes. I'd love to see it. How about upload it to your drive, share it properly, give us the link, and we'd love to take a look at it. All right, let's see. So I got an email. Let's check this out. Okay. Let's see what happens. I'll need to come over here and download it. There it goes. Let's open it. Venture Quest. Ooh. Yeah. A lot of stuff to read. It's one of the things I've noticed. Like, do I want to read AI generated text? I don't know if the jury's still out, but let's see. CTE standard 6.1. So that's got it in there. This is something that you teach in your CTE class. Do you have what it takes to survive the startup valley? Ooh, this actually looks pretty cool. So I have to answer this question. Oh, that's neat. So it's giving me a little quiz here and then giving me this metric based off of how I'm answering. It's kind of giving me a little score here. Yeah, that could be kind of interesting. Now, what's the next step? Again, AI is not teaching me anything. It's what you do as the teacher next that makes it really interesting, right? Once you get those live metrics, that capital run, whatever it is that this simulation is going to do in the end, what's the next step? That's where the teaching comes from, right? Pretty cool stuff. All right, thank you for sharing that. Okay, we have another one. All right, this was Sean, huh? Let's see, maybe unsafe. Click. All right. What is this? Does it make the sound too?
It's supposed to be a treble clef. The note is supposed to be on the staff. Like,
Oh, I
it's
see
so
that.
bad.
Yeah. That's a whole mess. Yeah,
Right?
that looks like if I had made it.
And the note's floating above. How do you know what note that is?
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, but having that conversation with AI is going to be super important here, right? Like, hey, what the heck was this? Reprompt it. Say, I need a little help, but here's the problems I'm seeing.
Okay.
Yeah. And make it so that like, will it actually play those different notes? I don't know if it's doing it because I'm tone deaf.
Well, I'm guessing like that's supposed to be a B because that's where the stem is ending. Like, but the note head should be attached.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely opportunities for sure. But the fact that like, it made this in a minute, is that not unbelievable? It is to me.
Yeah.
All right. Excuse me. Thank you for sharing, you guys. Let me go back to my we got 14 minutes left. Perfect. That's actually enough time for Notebook LM. So here's the problem with Notebook LM. I'm going to get you guys going on a Notebook LM here in a second. Now, part of the problem is if I just gave you the link to the Notebook LM I already created, you wouldn't be able to access it. You have to be like in a group. You have to, well, or be in a classroom, like what I'm about to do for you guys, okay? So let me do this. Otherwise, it'll just be an error. So, or I'd have to individually add all 55 of you onto my Notebook LM, which is way too much. So the best way to get a Notebook LM out to students actually is to, if they're already in a group within a classroom, is to give them the Notebook LM through a classroom in which they're enrolled in. I put a link in the chat. If you click on that link, it's going to allow you to join this class. And once you've done that, look at the classwork tab. So at the top, it says stream classwork. Click on classwork and then scroll down to where it says Notebook LM on the destination district. And then open it. You won't be able to access this. If I just gave you the link, you won't be able to do it. You have to come in through this classroom. So enroll yourself within the classroom and then open it. Let's take a tour of a Notebook LM while you guys are all doing that. I'll give you another 30 seconds. I'll put a link in the chat. Join the class. Once you've done that, at the top, click on classwork, scroll, find Notebook LM on the destination district, open that link. We got 12 minutes left. Let's take a look here, and I want you guys to create a notebook in a second. So let me give you a brief overview. If it's taken too long, note that I am recording the session, and you can access all of this stuff at any time, including the link. And I'll give this link in that facilitation guide I referenced prior. So let's go back to the meet. I want you to look at my visual. Let's look at the areas. The area on the left is where you add sources. The area in the center is the chat. Notice the chat bar at the very bottom in the center. And then on the right-hand side is the studio. From the teacher's perspective, or the person that owns the Notebook LM or has editing rights to it, they have these abilities to create like an audio overview podcast. 2 AI bots will be talking about, well, your sources on the left-hand side. You can make a slide deck, a video overview. Again, a video will automatically be generated based off of whatever sources you have selected on the left-hand side. I think this would be really cool to have a Notebook LM with your content. And imagine a Notebook LM for one per each of your units, for example. So what is a Notebook LM, right? And then have all of these different materials associated with it. We're increasing the modality of how students can interact with the content in your class. The podcast might not be for you, but it might be for the kid that needs to hear something instead of looking at, right? So it increases and reaches all those kids in all the different ways that students learn. So what is a Notebook LM? A Notebook LM allows students to interact with content that you have selected. And it's sourced, let me say it again. It's grounded in those sources. So as I talk with and interact with the AI, its answers can only come from the sources that I've added to it. If it doesn't know the answer, it doesn't go out onto the online, World Wide Web and also supplement the answers that way. The answers to those questions and those queries only come from any source that you add to it. All right. So, and what's neat, like I've already asked a couple questions here, like what are durable skills and how do I teach them? Notice that, there's the communication and collaboration piece of it. Notice that it tells me exactly where it's getting those answers to. One of the concerns with AI is the idea that it can hallucinate, right? It starts to veer off on a tangent as it tries to answer the question. And so the idea is that this Notebook LM will be less likely to hallucinate because its answers are only coming from the sources themselves. All right, so here's what I want you to do. Take 2-3 minutes, and I want you to ask one question of the destination district PDF that I've attached. And I want you to check out 1 or 2 of the things, the items that I have in the studio. Take 2-3 minutes.
So do you want me to respond in the chat? Type in the chat?
Yeah, type in the chat, and your responses will only be specific to you. No one else will see them.
Okay.
Yeah. One question that you can ask, I'll put this in the chat. You just wanted to try it out. Oh, like not our chat, the chat of the Notebook LM, right? One question you can say, what are durable skills and how do I teach them? 50 words or less. What, another 30 seconds. We're almost done, you guys. You can spend a whole hour, I feel like, just doing Notebook LM. And that's what I would suggest you do. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward concept, right? Once you kind of understand why we would want to use it. So I would suggest you, instead of going to the pool, maybe as you're driving to bingo for 1 p.m. bingo over at Sunset Station, for all paper bingo, take a look at Notebook LM, make your own. For those teachers who are going to have students with AI turned on, kids should be making their own Notebook LM, right? And teaching is all about giving up control. Allow the kids to make their own versions of the flashcards. Why not, right? I mean, we're not the owners of any of this stuff. Let the kids own their own learning. All right, so take a look at my visual here. So let's go back to the Meet screen. I can add additional sources. In the upper left-hand corner, click Add Sources. I can find websites. Actually, I can just search Google, and it's called Destination District CCSD. All right. I can add, upload files like PDFs, websites, things from my drive. Let's say that I have a Unit 2 slide deck that I wanted to add, and it's in my drive. I can add that stuff there. Let's just see what happens when I search for Destination District CCSD. Tries to find applicable websites, and then I have the choice as to which ones I'd like to add. Now, I think, my opinion, it's got, look at all these, yeah. So it's got 7 different ideas, and I can select just the ones that I want to import, for example. I think the real value from this actually is not to get too overwhelmed with these sources. I feel like just one source, 2, 3. If we start to have 50 sources, when we start to click on the audio overview over here on the left-hand side, if you've got a lot of stuff in there, the hosts, the AI hosts will make and talk about 20 minutes of literally anything, unless you wanted to really drill it down to one or two things. Take a look. This is what's really cool. So I've got this deep dive that goes into some aspect.
Welcome to today's deep
You
dive.
can hear that, right?
You know, for the better part of a century, the K through 12 education system
Yeah.
has, well, it's kind of run on this very predictable.
They have vocal fry. It's very kind of unnerving. Look at this though. So I was playing this one. Notice this one has an interactive mode to it. I'll click on interactive. Let's push play.
Welcome to today's deep dive.
Let's push
You know, for the
join.
better part of a century, the K through 12
Oh, hey there. How can we help?
Hey, what are durable skills?
That is the perfect question to start with, and I am so glad you jump in.
Yeah, seriously. It is basically the heart of everything we are talking about today.
Think of durable skills as the human abilities that never go obsolete, no matter how much technology changes.
Like if you learn a
Pretty wild stuff. So, and let me show you last thing before we're almost finished, guys. If I wanted to make a very specific video overview here, notice that I can click on that little chevron here. I have a little bit of control as to what I'd like the hosts or the video to be about or whatever, right? I can change it to an explainer. I can choose the visual style, sure. And then I can make sure that I just am careful about very specific things. So I can have those hosts, the AI focus on one or two things, right? So I have a little bit of control. It takes about 5 minutes or so for any of those videos or podcasts to be made. Now, last thing I'm going to leave you guys with at the very top is a button that says plus create notebook. Here's what I was thinking that we can do, right? Is let's add, last thing we're going to do is add that slide deck that we had AI produce about 30 minutes ago. So I just clicked plus create notebook kind of near the top right-ish. I clicked add sources, and then I'm adding in that slide deck just to see what happens. All right. Play around with this offline, you guys. We've got 2 minutes left. I appreciate you all hanging out with me here today on our session about unlocking AI in your instruction. One of the things that our department does here is the Digital Learning Lab. This is a standalone 45-minute PL session that is facilitated by yours truly, delivered during your department's PLC. I can do these in a virtual setting, just like what we're doing right here. Let me share the right tab. Right, so think about this. In October, you're like, we've got PLC with Chris. We can all be in our own separate classrooms because it's going to be, we need a computer, right? It'd be kind of a nice day, I feel like. At least I would love it. Plus, it gets me doing stuff, that is fun and gets me to interact with folks out there in the classrooms. So if you're interested in doing something like this, you can email me and let me know, all right? Yes, Leslie?
So in order for us to get, create this notebook LM, so we're going to have a Google Classroom. Is that how they're going to access it, or?
Yeah, I was thinking there's a couple different ways to do it, I suppose. And, take a look. If I wanted to share this, I can copy the link, but you won't be able to access this unless you're a part of it. So I can add people. Notice it says I can add people and groups. So if I have like groups.google.com, I can add all of my students to a group and then just add that group to the notebook LM. But or add my individual students. If I have 150 of that, that's too much. So the best way to do this is to get that notebook LM out to students through a classroom, and Google Classroom will be available to students next school year. I'm doing a session on this next week. If you're interested, you can look up Google Classroom and ELMS, and I chat a little bit about how to do something like this, okay? I'll show you real fast, though. If I click on, by the way, we're at 12 o'clock, so if you guys need to leave, that's fine. Canvas, again, you can get the link out to the students, but you'd have to have them be a part of an editor, a viewer of it. So you'd have to individually add the students or put the students in a group, add them as a group into your Notebook LM. All right. What was I going to say real fast? Looking at my screen here. And by the way, I put the link to the feedback survey right there in our chat. You guys can, we're after 12, so this session is finished. You can finish up that survey offline if you'd like. I'll real briefly show you how to add a Notebook LM. It's so easy from the classroom. So once you have the classroom, I'll click on create, and then there's a link right here. And as long as your students exist within, I mean, think about it, they're enrolled in this classroom, so they exist within the group that is the classroom, then you don't have to worry about sharing it, right? Because you can just do it directly from here. I can choose one of my existing notebooks, the one that I just made, and then I can attach it. So pretty cool stuff. Thanks again, guys. Folks, I'm here. Yeah, the attendance will automatically be emailed to me in spreadsheet form based off of your participation today. And we'll go from there. I appreciate you guys. Again, the link to the feedback survey is in the chat. You can finish that offline. Enjoy bingo. Yeah, have a good day, guys. Happy birthday to Astrid. See you guys soon. Be well.